What's going on YouTube? It's Chris here and I am back again for Friendly Frenzy Games. Today I'm going to share with you some tips that we've put together to help you get Starfield's rarest Steam achievement called Life Begets Life. So let's get into it. Starfield's Life Begets Life achievement on Steam is really only rare because 0.5% of Steam's playing population so far has collected it. That currently makes it the least obtained Starfield achievement, so we figured we would make a quick tip guide for all of the completionists out there, since we just collected it with fairly minimal effort. A quick note here that what we share in this quick guide will also drastically help you if you're in need of collecting organic materials for crafting, so just make sure that you pay attention until the end so that you can farm these materials much more quickly and effectively. So for starters, this achievement honestly really isn't that difficult at all, but it does take time, and definitely without knowing some of these key pieces of information, it'll likely take a lot of it. However, in about an hour, we were able to collect our remaining 250 organic resources after learning what we will discuss in this video. One huge piece of information before we really kind of dig into the skills portion of this tip guide would be that collecting organic materials from creatures, or even loosely while exploring, do not count towards your gathered resources total. This achievement really should be worded that you need to harvest 500 organic material as opposed to collect 500 organic material. So with the general achievement overview out of the way, let's talk about the skills. So obviously skills like Botany and Zoology help increase the collection rate of organic materials, which is absolutely fantastic when you're looking to farm as many materials as quickly and effectively as possible, especially to use for your crafting recipes. Now, since we mentioned that collecting organic material from creatures does not count towards your collected resource total, Zoology really has no effect here, even though it does technically increase your ingredient yield. But similar to this, and our second biggest kind of note on this achievement, is that Botany, so the skill that has a chance to receive increased yields when harvesting organic materials from plants, also does not count towards your collected total. So really what this means is that you're going to need to harvest organic materials from 500 individual plants, and you can't bank on the efficiencies of the Botany skill to speed up this process at all. So for this reason, if you are looking for any skills to possibly assist you in this, we would absolutely recommend putting a point or two into the surveying skill. What this is going to do is increase your scanner's radius, allowing you to see the plant highlights from much further away. This is really going to help you determine where you're going to need to go in order to collect your materials while you're out there exploring planets. Although it's definitely not a necessity, having some additional points in fitness can also help you, as you're going to be covering a lot of ground and the additional oxygen will really pay dividends in the long run. We also have a maximum point limit in weightlifting so that we had the inventory space to be able to store all of these materials, but really if the collecting impairs your movement or fast travel, just drop the stacks of the material if you're not going to be crafting with it anyways. This will have already been counted towards your lifetime total, so it's no need to hold on to these continuously. Now the locations part of this guide is probably the most important. Really, for the best locations to collect, you're looking for the highest possible levels of flora on the planets. We personally haven't come across too many with the label of abundant, but the best place that we found to be able to harvest these organic materials the quickest is at the Neurodyne Botany Laboratory on the Beta Marae 1 in the Beta Marae system. You're really wanting planets that have a higher than 0 or marginal amount of flora, as flora represents the plants that you're going to obviously need to harvest, and the label identifies how many species of plant that you should expect to find, but also how closely packed they are likely to be. Now the Beta Marae 1 is abundant for both flora and fauna, and as soon as you land at the Neurodyne Botany Laboratory, it's going to be pretty evident that there is plant life everywhere. You likely won't be able to harvest all of the required 500 materials here, so we would recommend a few other early game areas that have moderate levels that we personally collected in. These would be areas like Gagarin in the Alpha Centauri system and Polvo in the Valo system. So since we've discussed the skills and location, it comes down to the method, which is truly pretty simple. You're very literally going to be running around with your scanner open, as this is going to highlight the plants in blue until you've completely scanned them, in which case they'll then turn to green. Now, if you haven't harvested the specific plant currently shown in your scanner, typically it lights up with a brighter white outline around the either blue or green highlight. Now, this can sometimes glitch, but more often than not, it's been a pretty good indication of what's been or has not been harvested. Either way, try and keep some sort of organized path in mind so that you are able to keep yourself moving forward without having to backtrack too much. For some of the higher level planets, you're definitely going to want to bring some weapons and ammo, as there will be a lot more hostile creatures. They're also going to be higher levels and fairly often have a pack mentality, so just be ready for their swarms, especially if you're trying this at a lower level. You'll also want to be mindful though of the planet's climate. Since you'll be spending a decent amount of time here, we would definitely suggest also that you bring some aid items that are going to cure things like lung damage for the gassier planets, as well as some spacesuits that might have some more thermal protection to keep you from burning up and constantly fighting the ailments that'll eventually claim your life. Again, this achievement truly is fairly simple, but there are definitely quite a few things that are misleading in how you'd think you might actually be able to collect it. Hopefully though, with these tips and additional context, you're able to go out and obtain Starfield's rarest achievement, Life Begets Life. If this video helped you, be sure to subscribe to Friendly Frenzy Games for many more helpful guides just like this one.